And we've switched to Aurora, playing against KIRBSTOMP. And who will Aurora be going against, I wonder? And it's Corn versus
another
Kirby.
Corn. You see, with the Aurora, I was expecting Lucario. And once again, I can't English.
Now, let me ask you, Danish, how do you feel about all these Corn appearances? You like it, hate it?
Oh, it's making me nervous because, to be honest, I really hate playing against a Corn because they're so good at zoning.
It's very true.
But they are very good technical players. So Kirby versus Corn will be a very interesting matchup, but I think that with a little luck and more than a little perception, KIRBSTOMP could take this because Corn is all about being technical, but he's good on the ground. Kirby is excellent in the air, and there Corn loses some of his advantage.
It's very true. However, I do seem to... Oh, and Kirby
almost
takes
an
a
SD.
big stock.
But
and he barely survives.
All right.
Wow, what a fall
That
there.
was
and,
terrifying.
Missed the edge close. And, it looks like KIRBSTOMP here has got his work cut out for him. His Cloud has only taken 7% damage in this round so far.
All right. So we see that Aurora is not afraid to get in close, but he's also not afraid to use the range. Whereas KIRBSTOMP is favoring that hammer, but he does have some variety.
He does. And, I think that we can see the difference here, especially after watching such a dominant match by a Kirby. I think it's very interesting for us to assess what we have going here, 102 to 13, and it's not even close, folks. It looks like this Kirby is a very early competitor. Right. You can see that move right there where he tried to absorb the projectile, which we all know you can't do as Kirby.
Well, you can do as Kirby with some projectiles, but
not with Corn, folks.
It's telling which projectiles you know and which you don't.
Somewhat of a beginner mistake here, so it's very concerning for Kirby, and still only 13% damage on Corn. This is a very dominant performance.
Yeah.
Now that being said, though, we don't know who KIRBSTOMP is, so we don't want to put down players here. But this Corn, though, let's not just focus on the failures of the Kirby, but also the success of Corn. And this is something else. I mean, he could very easily two-stock him here and only, under 25% damage.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I do think that Kirby still has some tricks up his sleeve. We see him being a little bit more cautious, a little bit more conservative. But Corn is just too good with those paralyzing shots.
And, I think in this first round, it's pretty much over. We're waiting here to see the final smash. And, let me ask you, Danish, what can this, what do you think would be the ideal matchup against Corn? Should he change characters? And should he not change characters? What strategy should he take with Kirby?
I think he probably should change characters. Personally, I would change to someone a little bit faster and a little bit more grounded. But that is my preference, and that is according to my play style. I do not know what other characters KIRBSTOMP is good as, so
sure,
I cannot truly say.
My pick probably for Aurora would be somebody like Dark Pit, somebody with really good counteraction, and it looks like we have a double stock. Corn takes the edge, Aurora over KIRBSTOMP Kirby, and with only 39% damage going into it, so either we have a very impressive Corn or simply just not a very strong Kirby.
I think we have a little bit of both.
We have a little bit of both.
Because although that Kirby was a little bit novice, it was good, and I think that the Corn simply was, outclassing him.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm a big believer that you fight fire with fire, but it looks like they're going with the very same matchup.
It looks like it, and you know what? That's very interesting, especially considering, in my personal pick, Danish, to go against him would probably be somebody more like a Dark Pit, or maybe even a Captain Falcon, somebody with some bruiser aspect. You're going to need someone that can get in there with Corn, you know what I'm saying?
Personally, I would take another Corn against him.
Not actually a bad decision. It's really possible. Unless you don't know how to work Corn, a very technical character, so if you don't know how to work her, you probably shouldn't play as her. And it looks like we're seeing more of the same here. Kirby being a little more dodgy, but also being a little too aggressive. Nice stomp there. Didn't get any damage. Still 0% on Corn here in the early round.
But we are seeing him accumulate damage a little slower. He's learning Corn's patterns, which is very good.
It is true, but we have a 55-0 still, and that is just a very hard matchup to look at. And
it is.
I think we're going to have a very quick tourney here.
It's a little painful to watch, to be honest. Yes, I feel for KIRBSTOMP here because I've been in that position. And
KIRBSTOMP takes it over the edge.
Oh, no.
That's a rough one, folks. And it looks like we are one stock away from Aurora taking the loss here.
All right, but KIRBSTOMP does have another chance. And if I'm not incorrect, Swifty, the next set KIRBSTOMP's going to be in, it's going to be against a different opponent, right?
It will be, and you know what? If KIRBSTOMP ends up against Nixon in the next round, I don't see him moving on because this is just a bit too dodgy of a performance. Keeping a little too aerial, putting yourself too far ahead in the air.
Well, he is a newcomer. It's possible that this was simply a stress thing. It's possible he's just joking.
It's very possible, yes.
I can see the potential for a very great Kirby in this, man, but frankly, I'm seeing a little bit of fear, a little bit of shaken confidence, especially from that first match, because that was just
that was a brutal
that was a
match.
painful
And you know what?
match.
This one honestly is even worse. 8% currently total, not on a stock. Total 8% damage taken by Corn, and Kirby here 80%, now 90, almost taken out there, and Kirby gets a big one in the air, 99% damage, and it's pretty much over, folks. And Kirby 105 makes it back down, but it's pretty much over, folks. Like I said, 8% damage.
Swallows him to get the hat.
And you know, I'm just wondering here, is it possible that this Corn is just simply much better than we understand?
I think so. Because, to be honest, it's hard to judge a single player. It's much easier to judge a matchup, and it's clear which way this matchup goes.
It's very true.
But
And Corrin, folks, by the way, just to keep you updated, just took the victory at 124 on Kirby to only 34 damage on him to stock.
Aurora is definitely moving forward.
Absolutely.
I think, depending on who we see KIRBSTOMP going up against in his next set, I think we could see him moving forward too. I don't know.
Absolutely. You know, it's definitely possible. So